Hello, guys and gals. Me, Mutahar. It's one of those late nights, and you kind of sit down and you wonder to yourself, what are you going to do when Grand Theft Auto 6 sucks? Now, in the world of GTA, there's really not a lot to talk about, and, I would make more GTA content, but the reality of it is that we're sitting on an actual drought. If there was an island where there were, if we were in a survival situation and you had to pick a game franchise to stick around, there's really not many game franchises that rival GTA when it comes to absolutely giving the fans nothing, okay? In fact, right off the top of my head, I can only think of one other franchise, and that would probably be the Elder Scrolls, okay? Those guys are sitting with an announcement God knows how long ago, and there's literally no mention of the Elder Scrolls 6. At least us GTA fans at least know that a game is coming out with a set release date. Now, May 26, 2026 is a date that I'm pretty excited for. 200 days away, literally from now. Okay, so I am pretty ready to see Grand Theft Auto 6. But the reality of it is that I have hyped many games in my time, and usually when it comes to hyping video games, it either ends up being really great, or in most cases, and I would say 99% of them, usually a letdown. Now, there's only one game that I've ever actually hyped myself up for that matched the hype, and that was probably Halo 3. Okay, I genuinely enjoyed every single aspect of that game when it came out. But even games like Grand Theft Auto 4 that I actually hyped up considerably, all right? I used to go onto that website every day. Usually when that game ended up coming out, I was like blown away. But then in retrospect, I looked at it and thought, damn, really wasn't all that in a bag of chips compared to the game that I was playing beforehand, San Andreas. Now, obviously, GTA 6 is on its way. And, it's been an interesting development cycle, right? Like, it's been an interesting announcement because, years ago, we ended up with Rockstar tweeting out and saying, yeah, by the way, the next installment, we're working on it. And then radio silence. Until eventually, one day I wake up and Jen tells me, it's like, hey, do you know that GTA, 6 got leaked? Bro, I'm telling you right now, before I could even think of taking the morning dumpy, I went on the internet, looked up these leaks, and I was blown away. Now, I can't show you these leaks for obvious reasons, because I don't want to get shot through my window. But the thing about it is that I saw the diner scene where, again, the main characters in the game were robbing a diner and the cops were surrounding them. I saw the actual, cop AI massively enhanced over GTA 5. It just got me hyped for the game because at least I knew and saw, even in alpha states, what the game would eventually become. And then, of course, down the road, they randomly just had to release the first trailer because a bunch of crypto bros were releasing it before Rockstar, and it broke the internet. It was a genuinely amazing looking game. And 6 months ago, obviously, we saw trailer 2. And of course, in 6 months, we've heard not a peep from Rockstar, okay? It's to a point where Rockstar fans are, I shit you not, looking through the moon phases. I mean, we had the whole moon phase conspiracy where people were looking at the moon phases of Grand Theft Auto 5 and trying to use divine charting, I shit you not, to figure out GTA 6 information. It's to a point where fans were thinking that literally in the month of, I believe, October and November, based on the watch of the main character Jason in trailer 2, they were ascertaining when trailer 3 was dropping. And of course, trailer 3 didn't drop, okay? All right, simple as that. Now, I have a simple rule about life, is that set your expectations so low so that if something doesn't happen, you will never be disappointed. And I think that's what makes me cope with this entire situation better than the average Grand Theft Auto fan. Now, obviously, I'm not doing nothing while I'm waiting for GTA 6. I am obviously replaying a lot of my favorite games from Rockstar, so that would be like games like Bully, Manhunt, but more specifically, I'm just playing through older Grand Theft Auto games, and I've decided to do something that will help pass the time, is actually do the 100% checklist on them. So basically, for every Grand Theft Auto game, or really most Rockstar open world stuff, there's a 100% checklist. So basically, if you find all the collectibles, you do all the side missions, all of the content, you will achieve a 100% status. Now, obviously, it's kind of a shame when you go to Rockstar's website and you find out very quickly that their featured games are Grand Theft Auto 6, GTA 5, and GTA Online. They're literally both the same game. And of course, Red Dead Redemption 2, which is a game that they completely abandoned the online mode of, and Red Dead Redemption 1, which doesn't even have the online mode anyways. But there used to be a point with Rockstar where, I think the reason for this hype really just came out with a lot of their previous games and the pedigree raised from them. So the reason why I'm actually pretty hyped for GTA 6, but at least cautiously, is for two reasons, okay? One of them primarily being that the last game that I was this hyped for, Cyberpunk 2077, dropped in a state that obviously wasn't that great. Now, you could probably dig up a clip a month before the game's release, Cyberpunk 2077, of me absolutely getting on my knees and glazing the shit out of this game. And of course, by the time it released, we all know the state of it, it did not drop in the best possible quality. In fact, it was to a point that I ended up just becoming one of the largest critics of the game because it had so many issues on launch that it wasn't even funny, okay? Forget the PC version of the game. The console version that the actual developer, CD Projekt Red, said, yeah, we're actually surprised it's running. I feel like that quote really is the developer surprised that it ran, because the actual quality of the port was such dog shit at launch that it will forever be remembered. There is a physical disc that you can purchase for the original PlayStation and the Xbox that will show you how bad the actual shipping code for the game was. So of course, it took years for CD Projekt Red and basically exclusivizing their content to the upper systems at the time, being the PlayStation 5 and the Series X and S, where again, ultimately that's where the game really shined, right? With an extra content pack, just tons of updates and various fixes to a very, very broken game at its release. Now, do I think that Rockstar is necessarily capable of lying and releasing a crappy product? Absolutely. I think any company is capable of doing it. But Rockstar, over the course of years, has showcased that when it comes to their visuals and their performance, generally speaking, when you go all the way back to even the original Grand Theft Auto, usually what they show in a trailer is what you're going to be seeing on your actual final system. So for that, when I saw GTA trailer 1 and 2, specifically for 6, I was actually blown away by the visuals. Right now, even to this point, I'm still fucking wondering how they're going to get a game to look that good, even on a PS5 and Xbox Series X and S. But one of the reasons that I'm actually genuinely hyped for GTA 6, and one of the things that gets me blown away for it, is the scale of the game. Now, it's no joke that if you're a Grand Theft Auto fan, a lot of GTA games, specifically the modern ones, like GTA 4 and 5, have pretty much been constrained compared to the original games. Now, if you play GTA 1, you'll notice that Liberty City, Vice City, and San Andreas were pretty much mentioned at the time. So, because now this new game is set in Vice City, for the first time, okay, in over 20 years, back when I was a wee little lad playing Vice City on the original PlayStation 2, we finally get to see what Miami looks like in the GTA universe in glorious, stunning high definition in a city that's longer than 3 streets maximum. Now, the big part about this, obviously, for me, is not the fact that we're just going to be seeing Vice City, which obviously is huge in its own right, much larger than it seems Los Santos or even Liberty City was ever going to be. But excluding all the life and the beauty that you see over here, they also showcase that this is an entire state they're going at. So obviously you got other locations like the Leonida Keys. You've got other locations like the Grass Rivers, which is the Everglades. And of course, you've also got 2 other cities like Port Gellhorn, which literally do look like it actually does look much larger than at least GTA 5's several cities. Now, GTA 5 did have like smaller cities outside Los Santos, but again, they were basically like 2 streets maximum, okay? And of course, you've also got cities like Ambrosia, matching the entire life of the state of Florida brought into GTA 6, like brought into this parody world. So the thing is, you know, it's been a while since we've gotten a real, like, actual GTA game. It's actually skipped an entire console generation. Remember, GTA 5, for all of its faults and failures you might bring up now, was a game that literally was put together for the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360. I would say, for what we got back then, truly impressive shit. Now, to this day, I still wonder how a screenshot like this makes sense, because again, this looks far better than anything that I would expect. And this is supposedly running on an actual PlayStation 5. Somehow, in some way, this is the case. Now, for me, because it's set an entire state, one of the reasons why my hype comes into it is mostly because, you know, I've recently been playing through, again, like I said, a lot of these GTA games. The last time I was this hyped for a Grand Theft Auto game wasn't even 5, wasn't even 4. Actually, it really went all the way back to San Andreas. Dude, I remember back when I was excited for like GTA San Andreas, one of the things that, and again, this is a fan recreation, was I used to go to like the actual website for GTA San Andreas. Rockstar used to have these like crazy Flash websites Where again, back when San Andreas was a thing, this was the first time where like we went from having like a city like Liberty City and Vice City all the way to having a state. So in a lot of ways, GTA 6 feels as big as something like San Andreas, which still feels like the biggest GTA game, even though it's not in today's day and age. Back when I was a kid, seeing the original Los Santos in San Andreas was already mind-blowing. But if you play through the story of San Andreas, you would know that obviously the Los Santos section is a very small part of a much larger game. You know, to me, it was mind-blowing going from that city and then ending up in like the forested areas of the state of San Andreas and then driving into the foggy streets of San Fierro and then eventually working my way through the deserts and the magic neon lights of Las Venturas. I mean, when I was a kid, San Andreas really did feel like an actual dream at the end of the day, right? There's something so beautiful about the map of San Andreas, the way that it's so carefully crafted to make the game world feel much larger than it actually is. In reality, you could take San Andreas' map and probably stick it a few times into a game like GTA 5, obviously, and even GTA 4. It's really not that big of a map. Take away the fog, take away all the technical trickery, go all the way up into the air, and you can see that the state of San Andreas is literally no more than a few streets in size. But it just feels magical when you're younger playing a game like this and driving these winding roads and seeing a world that's much larger than it actually is. I mean, I was blown away back in the day when playing San Andreas, going from city to city, I realized that you could just go to any of the airports in the game, take a ticket, and literally just fly across. I mean, yeah, granted the flight lasted like 30 seconds, but it was still mind-blowing and it made the game feel a lot bigger. And of course, it's not as if Rockstar left the other locations that weren't cities to be completely empty. There were so many small towns with properties to buy and little missions to do, like trucking, for instance, or driving in the quarries, that it made playing the game and exploring these parts of the world so much more impressive. But obviously, one of the reasons why San Andreas was probably so important to me was being younger, right? And one of the things that got me into things like creepypastas, specifically video game creepypastas, which for anybody that doesn't remember, that's how I started my channel off. It's one of the first series that I actually did. When I played games like Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, back in the day, there were crazy myths that you could find. One of them was Bigfoot. I remember being younger and like actually like walking around the forested areas of of San Andreas at night trying to find Bigfoot, literally trying to find things like Leatherface, trying to find these myths, and it really was a creepy experience at the time. Early YouTube consisted of so many people using X-Files music and interfacing it with GTA myths that at the time I didn't know what was fake and what was real. Remember, I was a kid at the time. This game has such a magic allure to it that even later entries don't actually capture this much. Even though Grand Theft Auto 5's map is substantially the largest that Rockstar has made, yes, it's actually, from my understanding, even larger than I think Red Dead 2, simply because in Red Dead 2 you're riding horses as opposed to driving supercars across state lines. GTA 5, for as large as it was, still didn't feel as big as something like San Andreas. Even though technically it is larger, there was just something magical about driving between cities and seeing so much in between. And that's basically the only reason that I'm actually this excited for something like GTA 6. Because one of my favorite things that I do all the time is actually go look through the mapping project. For anybody that doesn't know, there's a community of people who are putting together the map of Grand Theft Auto 6, literally based off the official screenshots, leaked materials, and of course the various trailers. These people watch the actual trailer content and they look at the roads and they basically map them out with an entire community of individuals. I mean, you've got the Vice City International Airports, you've got the city of Vice right over here, and of course you've got the various other locations like the Keys, the Everglades, so on and so forth. And it's such a huge map that at some point people are wondering if there might even be multiple states. You know, the thing that excites me the most about this game isn't so much the single player campaign, it's more of exploring the weird, goofy side of the game. Now, something I can talk about is the leaks more specifically, but one of the leaks actually showed that they had like 1,200 like random events in the game. Random events basically being equivalent to those events that you come across in like GTA 5 and Red Dead Redemption 2, where like, you know, as you're exploring the open world, these events occur where like, you know, NPCs come up to you or like goofy, these are all like pre-scripted events, but they add extra believability into a world. Now, from my understanding, I think Red Dead 2 had something like 300. So if the leaked material for GTA 6 is true, having 4 times the amount of that content is already mind-blowing. And of course, that's really where it comes out to. Now, there are a lot of reasons why I think people can assume that GTA 6 sucks, or it may actually suck because of the hype, and there's a couple reasons that have been kind of hitting my head for the last, I want to say, few weeks. Now, I don't want to jump in and talk about like the obvious things. I do want to talk a bit about things like the writing, for instance. Now, we all know that some of the leadership of Rockstar has left the actual company over the course of its years, and even some of the people that we thought were so influential ended up making projects like Mind's Eye, which showcases that sometimes the people at the top that are usually the celebrities are not always responsible for complete greatness every single time. But when it comes to writing in GTA, what I'm usually a little bit more concerned about is the actual, like, what material they really have to work with. You know, when you play something like GTA 4, for instance, just browsing the in-game internet, which isn't a huge focal point of the game, you'll notice that they really do take their liberties making fun of just things at the time. Even a Linux user like me, yes, Linux mentioned, you'll find out that I'm actually considered a eunuch according to the GTA lore. Literally, there's an entire website where they talk about fucking Linux as eunuchs the entire way. Even when it comes to politics, there's so much focus on goofy things like, like the Republican Space Rangers, which is obviously a jab at conservative culture, especially in Grand Theft Auto. There's obviously Rockstar taking jabs at the left-wing side as well through various radio show hosts, various radio interviews that are done in the video game, and just caricatures in general. There's also a lot of focus that is done on the satirization of all aspects of American life. But when the current world that we live in right now is such a parody, especially with all the shit that we're covering, it makes me wonder how Rockstar is going to satirize a world that already feels like fucking satire to begin with. That's really where I'm kind of concerned with, right? Like, I don't understand what material they really have to work with, especially when it comes to it. Like, we're at a point where Princess Robot Bubblegum is not so much a satire as it actually could be a real anime in today's day and age. We're at a point where the Republican Space Rangers don't feel so much a satire as something that could be on Daily Wire for children, okay? We're at the point where the satire has basically become the actual reality, right? I mean, how the fuck do you satirize the president of the United States in GTA 6 when the reality that we have is already so fucking wild to see? So there's one issue that I have too. The other problem that I kind of have with games like Grand Theft Auto 6 is actually how much it has diverted attention away from other Rockstar titles. Now, Rockstar used to be a company that made several games. And back in the days of the PlayStation 2, you know, you had multiple GTA games, but it wasn't just GTA. You know, you had other Rockstar titles like The Warriors, you had Manhunt, you had Midnight Club, you had games like Bully. Some games that were much smaller in scope, but it allowed Rockstar to kind of like spread their wings, take what they learned doing by making GTA, and use it to make other titles. And some of these titles would have their gameplay fed somewhat back into Grand Theft Auto. But we don't even get that nowadays, man. You know, it's crazy, right? GTA 5 has been through 3 goddamn presidential cycles. It has been through 3 goddamn gaming console generation cycles, and not so much a single-player DLC has been put out towards it. So of course, GTA 5 has been around so long that the only other game Rockstar has made since we've been to Los Santos is Red Dead Redemption 2, a game that, might I remind you, has already been abandoned for the most part in terms of content. It's crazy to think that since Red Dead 2 has come out, neither the PlayStation or the Xbox version has seen so much as a 60 frames per second update. Though Grand Theft Auto 5 just got released this year for PlayStation 5. Sorry, PC. The actual like PS5 version got re-released for the PC, with all of its bells and whistles intact. And while Red Dead Redemption 2 is genuinely a game that was written really well, and it's a huge game, it's by far the biggest Rockstar game they made to date, it does show you that even as big as they are, and as much time as Rockstar can put into it, there's still a lot of content that does end up being cut out from the game. This is a list of content that apparently was seemingly cut out of Red Dead 2. Content that, I feel like if you put together, probably could release a whole nother game attached to it. Now, whether this was cut because it didn't match the game's tone or writing, or it was just technically infeasible for the PlayStation 4, which already was having issues running the game. I mean, load up base PlayStation 4 and drive around or walk around Saint Denis and tell me that it actually runs at a stable 30 frames per second. Probably doesn't. And I think it's one of the reasons why games like GTA 6 never showed up or was attempted on the PS4, because they probably did have a build. They tried it for all of 5 minutes and were like, yeah, it's not going to run the way that we think it is. But to me, GTA 6 is a game that I know will hopefully drop next year, if not May, maybe down in November, if it gets delayed again. But one thing that I kind of wish would come out of Rockstar, and this isn't so much GTA related, is that, maybe instead of GTA 7, which I'm sure isn't going to drop until I'm in my 50s, I shit you not, or reaching it, probably should be looking at other games. I would love to see Rockstar attempt another Midnight Club. I would love to see Rockstar even think of bringing back Bully 2. But the fact that GTA is that cash cow is what they're going to go after. As I was playing through the GTA games again, one of the games that I loaded up was like the GTA 4 DLC. And as great as that DLC is, Rockstar was really out there setting the trend for releasing entire damn games as expansion packs on GTA 4. Yeah, when it came to, again, those games not selling, it really was something that was underperforming. Both Microsoft and Take-Two thought that there would be huge business for GTA 4's episodic content. Remember, back when this game was releasing, they already were pretty much hyping and saying that Xbox was getting these exclusive content packs. They weren't exclusive. They ended up dropping on pretty much everything. And even then, they were not reaching the heights of money that Rockstar was expecting. Now, obviously, one of the big reasons, one of the big money makers for Rockstar, and I think we all know this, is Grand Theft Auto Online. $500 million apparently were raised in 2022 just out of this online mode. Now, I don't know that many people play Grand Theft Auto Online, but I guess it must be a huge deal for PlayStation and Xbox, because even just looking at the numbers on PC, just Steam alone, I don't know how they're making $500 million through this alone, but it's still a huge IP. And not only that, the multiplayer has showcased that, again, for Rockstar, the effort is not so much in the single-player content, even though the base games that they release, if you look at 5 and Red Dead 2, the single-player is going to be solid. I have no doubt that Rockstar isn't going to put effort into the core game and then ultimately forget about it as soon as online drops a month after the release. Now, the thing is, when it comes to the Rockstar, cash cow, GTA Online, I can imagine it's probably going to be ready to be monetized the shit out of, okay? I imagine very much down the road, they're not going to turn it free to play, but it's definitely going to be the sole focus point. There was actually plans to make expansion packs for GTA 5, and I think maybe even Red Dead Redemption 2, but because the online mode in Red Dead 2 was not something that Rockstar hyper monetized because they literally just let it die. I mean, shitting you not, Red Dead Redemption 2's online mode doesn't even have heists at this point. There's actually more of an incentive to do legal work in Red Dead Online 2 than do outlaw work. Simply because the legal work probably pays more and the outlaw work is fucking absolutely tedious. But when it comes to things like GTA 5 Online, for instance, the requirement for grinding, the amount of money that is spent on drip-fed content that still just sells like crazy, is all what Rockstar is focused on. There is no need to even think of making a single-player content pack when apparently so many whales are buying GTA Online stuff, which is shocking to me because me and my buddy Amaru, who are big players for GTA Online, we literally have played this game since its launch, have never once bought a shark card, and have not bought the GTA Plus subscription, which again gives you literally no benefits, in my opinion, worth paying monthly for. But Muda, it gives you $500,000 free a month. Yeah, have you seen how inflated the economy is for GTA Online? $500,000 a month isn't even gonna get you a fucking bathroom in Los Santos, let alone a vehicle worth driving. I'm pretty sure ammo itself is more expensive somehow in Grand Theft Auto Online than in reality. And here's the thing, I actually kill motherfuckers in GTA Online as opposed to reality. And even when it comes to actual multiplayer that is not in the scope of GTA, Rockstar has 5M under their belt, which apparently has 130,000 people playing this mode throughout all of it. And of course, if you look at the amount of players on GTA 5 that are streaming the game, it's got a pretty healthy community. And a lot of these people don't even play the actual core game itself, they just play a lot of these private servers. Even when it comes to things like the single player modding communities, which generally at the time when GTA 5 dropped, Rockstar was so hostile towards these communities that really it feels like the GTA modding community didn't really evolve in the single player world as much as it should have. Now, ultimately, at the end of the day, for me, writing, the focus on online content, are things that have me a little worried for games like Grand Theft Auto 6. Now, I think Rockstar is going to put their effort towards a real single-player experience, a real good game experience, as all previous GTA games, in my opinion, have been. But I don't know, man. Going in forward, one thing that I've always learned is, given my history with video games, the only game that I think I was ever hyped for that actually matched every single expectation was probably Halo 3. Even though that I'm the most excited I've ever been for a GTA game with 6, I've always just held it with complete bated breath. In 6 months, it's crazy to think that the wait will finally come to an end, and hopefully we'll be having our chance at Grand Theft Auto 6. Yeah, that's the problem with filming a video sometimes before Rockstar makes a surprise announcement. Yeah, actually, instead of 6 months, talk about an extra year, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I wasn't going to walk through this video without addressing the elephant in the room. GTA 6 has in fact been delayed a second time! November 2026! Basically, as I had predicted before, when you set your expectations so low, you will never, ever be disappointed. But, ladies and gentlemen, now we pretty much have to wait until the tail end of 2026 to even get a hint of that Vice City pussy. So, I'll be real with you, ladies and gentlemen. It sucks. And maybe if, I was far younger, I probably would take this information with a lot more pain. But honestly, life is so different. By the time you hit your 30s, video games kind of become like sort of this secondary side quest, this tertiary quest that I guess I'll be willing to wait for. To be real with you, I'm obviously still going to buy GTA 6 when it drops. I'll obviously still be excited to play it when it drops, but I'm in no rush to really get my hands on it. At this point in time, I'm doing a bunch of other things in the gaming backlog that a delay honestly doesn't hurt that much. And it gives me more of a chance to finish the rest of the games to 100%. But I won't deny it, okay? This game better slap harder than anything, especially in terms of open world design, if it's taking this long to actually release. Like I kind of said throughout the course of this video, when I saw the original trailer 1 and then trailer 2, I thought for a second maybe it looked a little bit too good to be true. And I think that's kind of starting to manifest itself. I mean, literally the last delay was for them to polish the game. But the game does need further polishing, so I'm beginning to think that maybe it's actually more that this game is just too big for the britches they showed. And instead of downgrading whatever they did show up till now, it really is a matter of trying to make it work on both the base PlayStation 5, the base Xbox Series S, not even counting, the Series X, which is basically just the PS5, but then also the PS5 Pro. Again, I still think that maybe there might even be a delay to 2027. To be real with you, set your expectations low. Then you'll never be disappointed. But you know what? There's a lot of mods even that I could play. So for instance, I think throughout the course of 2026, I might as well just go into GTA content with more of the mods. Like, there are so many cool things like Project Eagle, where, again, fans have decided to take the entirety of the United States, fictionalize it, and put it into GTA San Andreas. Now, obviously, this mod isn't complete, but I do think, and I'm not a betting man, but I think this mod may see completion before we even get our hands on GTA 6. That's how insane this game is. But again, for me, I really do want Rockstar to focus, especially on that mystique and magic that really puts San Andreas at the top of the pile. This is the first time in a while that we're going to be getting a Grand Theft Auto game that isn't just confined entirely to one city or just a region. They're going back to releasing an entire goddamn state, as they did back on the PlayStation 2. And in some ways, I want to say that GTA 6 almost feels like the San Andreas equivalent to this HD universe, right? Back in 2008, we got our hands on GTA 4, which really felt like what Rockstar wanted games like Grand Theft Auto 3 to be, right? Like they really got their chance to take Liberty City and actually make it look shot for shot as close to New York as they could. And of course, with games like Grand Theft Auto 5, visiting San Andreas, even though it was one city instead of three, I feel Rockstar really pushed the PlayStation 3 and the 360 to the most intense limits it could be. But now with games like Grand Theft Auto 6, it almost feels like we have the San Andreas of this like HD universe finally available. And I just really pray that Rockstar doesn't screw it up in any way. But then again, always keep your expectations as low as they can. Because ladies and gentlemen, if you do that, you will never be dissatisfied. I'm excited for GTA 6, but honestly, if it sucks, then honestly, just fucking take me out back and put a bullet in my head, okay? Not really. Not really. Don't do that, okay? But honestly, I'll feel really bad, okay? Because for the first time, I'm really excited about a game, like more so than I've ever been for things like Cyberpunk 2077, and I actually got that itch for gaming that I got way back when I was playing the PlayStation 2, and I feel like if I'm reliving my childhood youth again somehow, there's something magical behind it. Now again, for me, it literally could either be a complete letdown or it could be absolutely jaw-dropping. And I think Rockstar's kind of taken so long in releasing this game that it just is either one or the other, okay? They can't afford this game to be a 7 out of 10. So it can either be a 10 out of 10 or it can be an absolute dog shit release that frankly puts more effort onto aspects of Grand Theft Auto that we as gamers, I think, don't really ask for, but companies like Rockstar are financially incentivized towards. But ladies and gentlemen, this is me, Mudahar. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike if you dislike it. I am out.